Hello, and welcome to a little video about Target 6B, where we're going to look at triangle congruence theorems. Day 1. Okay, so the first thing I want to look at is the markers and ticks that indicate line segments and congruent angles. So, when we have angles with similar arches, they're congruent. When we have sides with similar ticks, they are congruent. So first, let's take a look at some congruent sides. The first congruent side I notice, or set of congruent sides, is the ones with one tick mark. So let's write that down. We have AB is congruent to DF. I only have one other side marked congruent, and that's the one with double ticks. So that means we've got BC congruent to ED. Now let's take a look at congruent angles. Remember, we learned 3 ways of naming them. We can use any of them. So if you're watching this to, go over the lesson that we did today, we might name it differently in class, because I'm just going to go along with what we do. And if you're watching this because you missed the lesson, your classmates may have a little bit different notes than you do on this specific area, just because there's so many ways of naming angles. All right. Now, I see 2 types of angles. I see one with one arc, and I see them with 2 arcs. Let's start off with the one arcs. So we've got this one, and this one. Okay. Because I'm leading this video, I'm going to name it angle A. I'm going to name this, there's 2 angle Bs, so I'll be specific, CBD, and angle F. Now, why did I choose CBD and not just B? Well, because B has 2 angles attached to it. It has the single and the double. So for these doubles, I'm also going to use 3 letters, so I'm specific and I know exactly which D and which B I'm talking about. So with the double arcs, I got A, B, C congruent to E, D, F. Great. Let's keep practicing that. Let's write congruency statements. Okay. It doesn't matter the order we do this in. Similarly to my warning on the beginning with the way I'm naming this, the order in which we do this might not be the same as your classmates. It doesn't matter as long as you have the same things. So let's start off, I feel like doing the sides. So let's do these ticks. I got side RS congruent to WB. I could have also written WB and RS on the opposite sides. I could have switched the letters. That's okay. So again, could be a little different than what you see from your peers if you missed a day or if you're going over this lesson on your own. Okay, next I want to do the singles. I have single arc here, single arc here. Now, because there are 2 possibilities of X, so here and there's 2 possibilities of T, I am going to be specific in naming it. I'm going to name the X angle, I'm going to name it WXB, and the T angle is RTS. So WXT, RTS. Okay? And of course, let's do the doubles. There's only one R and one W angle possible, so I'll save some time and use a single letter. If you used 3 letters to name it, you would still be correct. All right, number 2, what do we got here? We got just a line, a side, and an angle. Let's do it. So we got these 2 sides, so 2 tick marks. We got side TD and DZ. Now let's do our angles. Now because angle D could have an angle here or here, I'm going to use 3 letters, TDM. But angle Z can only exist there's only one type of angle Z in this image, so I'll just stick to angle Z. You could have named it TZC if you wanted to. Okay, number 3, let's do the same thing. we got single tick, single tick. So I got SY and AY. I got double, double. So that's ZY and MY. And then lastly, I got these two Y angles. I gotta use 3 letters because they're 2 of the same vertice. So we got SYZ is congruent to AYM. Fantastic. Now, what do we do with these congruencies? Well, we can use them to prove triangles congruent. There's only 3 ways of proving triangles congruent. Sorry, I was just checking how much more we had here. And they are side, 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 and angle, side, angle. If you want to jot it down, S is side, A is angle. They have to be in a particular order. Now, side, 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 easy peasy, all 3 sides. Now, for side, angle, side, the way I like to look at it is it's kind of a angle sandwich. There's a side, there's 2 sides with an angle right in between it. I like to think of angle, side, angle as a sandwich made out of with a side in the middle. We got an angle, a side, and an angle. They have to happen in a row like that. Okay. Let's check it out. Now, the first thing it's asking us is it congruent? If so, by what? Well, let's check it out. Let's see what they have. Well, I have a single tick mark. You know what? Before I write the S, I'm going to mark it with sides and angles. That's what I was about to do. I have a side and a side here that match. I also have this side and this side that match. And I have an angle in the middle. Side, angle, side. They are congruent by side, angle, side. Let's write it down. Congruency statements. The first tick mark, so I'm starting with the pink S, PN is congruent to VU. Next, I'm going to do my angle. I got angle N, that's congruent to angle U. And lastly, our second side, we got NO congruent to UW. Number 5. First, let's label stuff, just like we did previously. We got a tick mark here and a tick mark here. We got a double tick here and a double here, so 2 sides. And we do have an angle. Is it a side angle side sandwich? Meaning, is the angle in between the 2 sides like it is in this picture? Uh-oh. Did I zoom in too much? Sometimes it doesn't like that. My bad. Sorry, OneNote. Didn't mean to zoom in so much. There we go. So is it a side angle side sandwich? No, it is not. In order for it to be a side angle side sandwich, we should have had the angle right here. Alas, we do not. And if in geometry, if it's not marked, it's not congruent. Well, we still have some congruency statements, so let's write those down. All right. We have AB congruent to ED with our single ticks. We have our double ticks. BC is congruent to EF. And we have our angles. We have angle A congruent to angle D. Unfortunately, they're not congruent triangles, but they do have some congruent pieces. All right. Number 6, let's do the same thing that we did before, label some angles and sides. Okay, so I have an angle here that's a 90-degree angle, and I have it here too. Perfect. I have a tick mark and a tick mark, so 2 sides. And then I have a second angle. Right, I got two angles and a side. Is this a side? Is this an angle side angle sandwich? Meaning, is the side directly in between the two angles like it is in this picture? Sure is. So they're congruent by angle side angle. Let's write down our congruency statements. First we have angle A. Yes, angle A is congruent to angle E. We've got AR congruent to EO. And lastly, the two angles, angle R congruent to angle O. Sorry, it's lagging a little bit. And our last one for this lesson, number 7, let's see if these are congruent. Okay, so we've got, no, I wanted that pink. Excuse me, please. There we go. We've got side, side. We've got another side, another side. And we have a third side. Is side, side, side one of our options? Yes. So we are congruent by side, side, side. Well, let's write down our congruency statements. I'm going to start with one tick mark. Got AR congruent to EO. I've got MR congruent to OG. And lastly, I don't know why I made this line so short, but we got AM congruent to GE. Fantastic. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me or whoever else is helping you. Sometimes it is hard to see the angle side angle or the side angle side sandwiches. And sometimes it is hard to notice that the tick marks are the same. So if you struggle with any of that, please let us know. We're happy to help you. Otherwise, have a wonderful rest of whatever day it is for you. Bye!